Mr. Transformers 96 here with another Build-A-Figure review. This time it is the Build-A-Figure of the newest Spider-Man wave being Lizard. Very excited to finally get complete this Build-A-Figure. This was a pretty solid wave. I think that some of the figures in it just personally were really nice. I only bought 4 of the figures, and then the rest I just bought their Build-A-Figure pieces. The Spider-Punk, Spider-Man Noir, and Spider-Woman I didn't really want. So the Spider characters I actually skipped in the wave, but the rest I did buy: Lash, Mysterio, Prowler, and Gwenpool. Those were all ones I did actually want, so I kind of just went that route, which is what I'm starting to do more with Marvel Legends, buying the figures that I really want, and then just buying the Build-A-Figures of the other figures that I'm not too into. I find that's just better, you know, in general, because then I'm not stuck with figures that I don't really care about, and I still complete the Build-A-Figures, which is usually my main focus in the wave. So, very happy to complete Lizard. I'm a big Spider-Man villain fan. Lizard, of course, is a classic Spider-Man villain. When he was first shown, I thought he looked nice, but I didn't think he was like that great. However, the more that I saw of him and the more that I collected the pieces, I started to realize that this was actually much better than I was expecting it to be, and when I fully completed it, this is a much better figure than I thought it was going to be like several months ago when this was first shown just picture-wise. So overall, I am very happy with the end result as compared to how I thought it was going to be. But going over the actual figure here, first of all, the head sculpt is excellent. He's got a really nice kind of dino-like head sculpt. There are, of course, many different iterations of Lizard. There's a lot of different head sculpts they could have gone with, but they went with something that's more dino-like, kind of more modern. But I actually think it looks really nice. I think it's very cool. There's wonderful texture throughout the entire body, especially, you know, any skin that's showing, there's wonderful detail throughout it. That's definitely showcased here in the face. He's got very small little eyes. I wish that the color in the eyes was more extreme though, so it was like really like the eyes were glowing. I wish instead of like a pale orange, they used like just a bright yellow. Something like that to really make his eyes pop would have been really nice, considering they're so small and in there. To have something that really just like shoots him out would have been really nice. His neck has really nice detail. Like, I love his neck. It looks very old withered, looks extremely extremely reptile-like, which just looks super cool. Really like it quite a bit. And then his body does look quite nice. The black here isn't actually sculpted. This is actually like a separate piece that's been put on top of the body already. So they sculpted an upper torso that was just scaly like his skin, and then they just sculpted this this like rubberish shirt piece to go on top of it. That was a really odd way of doing it, but I think it looks nice and allows the shirt to be like really thick, which does hang over the body really nicely. I think that does look very cool, so I am happy about that. And then the jacket has been applied in a similar fashion, where of course you have the body underneath, and then you have a soft plastic jacket that's on top. Now the jacket, it is a softer kind of rubberish styled piece. However, it's much more you know, strong than just flat out rubber. It's very thick rubber at the very minimum, and it does you know, it is quite pliable, but at a very hard degree where it doesn't move that much. The jacket itself, though, is very nice. It's very pure white at the top. As it goes down, you do get like a dirty kind of effect to it, like it's been being, you know, brushed up against the sewer or the dirt and things like that. So I do think that does look quite nice. The legs themselves are very cool. You do have the kind of rips within the pants, which look nice. I love how stringy it gets here towards the bottom of the pants on the left leg. That looks really cool. And then the feet are very nice. You really are just supposed to have him displayed on his like toes, which I think is very cool. That's one of the unique things from this Lizard figure. I feel like a lot of Lizard figures don't do that, but this actually does it, and it works really nicely. The thing is, there's barely any articulation in the legs, so the legs are a bit almost kind of like their statues, to be honest, because there's just practically no knee articulation. But there's the rest of the articulation is good in the leg and the rest of the figure. He does have his tail, of course, which because of the kind of split jacket can be pushed out from the back of the jacket, and the tail is very nice. Going over his articulation, he has a ball joint at the base of the neck, and then a hinge at the top, and then a hinge at the jaw. So it allows you, sorry if you didn't see that, so a hinge at the top and then a hinge at the jaw. It allows you to open up the mouth quite far, which is nice. And then the ball joint at the base of the neck does go side to side quite well. He has ball hinge shoulders with the bicep swivel, which if his arms are in, because the bicep's pretty high, you don't get a whole lot of swivel depending on how close it is to the body. Double hinge elbows, which can go up about this far. Hinge swivel wrists, which work really nicely. He has an ab crunch, which can go back, I think, pretty far, but you really can't bend it any further back than this because of the jacket. It goes forward extremely far. This is one of the best ab crunches I've ever seen. I think it might be the best. Very good. He's got a swivel at the waist, ball jointed hips with the thigh swivel. Then, like I mentioned, he's got a double jointed knee, but it's just pointless. Like, I don't even know why there's a joint, because you can't even get, like, one full click on each of them. So it goes from this to this. Like, that's the extent of the knee articulation. He has hinge pivoting ankles, which work really nicely, and then a hinge at the toes, which works excellent as well. So he has great articulation as far as the body's concerned, but there's some areas where it doesn't really move well. He has on his tail here, he's the tail at the base is a ball joint, then it has a hinge swivel at the, you know, kind of mid-range of the tail, and then he has a hinge swivel in the opposite direction at the very tip of the tail. So he has decent articulation. It would be cool if he had like a bunch of articulation, like the kaiju from Pacific Rim, well, his name starts with an O, but anyway, he has a big tail and he has like a bunch of little ball joints on it. It would have been cool had they expressed that here with this figure, but still it is quite nice how he is articulated. Articulation-wise, because of how his legs have to be bent, though, there's not much you can do with him, to be quite honest. Like, really, it's just a step forward type of pose, and then you just kind of have to angle his arms in different ways. You can kind of have him jumping, but again, you know, there's not a ton of variety here as far as posing is concerned. But the figure overall, I think, does look excellent. The detail on it is spectacular. And then I like the version of Lizard that they went with. Like I mentioned, they went with kind of like a dino. This is kind of like a modern version of Lizard. His more classic version is a little more humanoid than this. This is very lizard-like, which I think is really cool, and I do like that. Considering I feel like the toys that we get, for the most part, they're not this lizard-like. This is extremely lizard-like, which I think is very neat. So you can do some cool stuff with them. And overall, I like Spider-Man villains, and this is a classic Spider-Man villain, and it's a really nice figure. It's bigger than I expected too. He's got some bulk to him, which is quite nice, and the detail is excellent. And of course, it's 100% a new sculpt, which is great too. You do need to buy 7 figures to complete him, which is a shame. I like the 6 ratio. I think 6 is a nice solid number. 7 is a little too much in my opinion. But overall, unless it's like a huge Build-A-Figure that needs like 7 or 8, then okay. Like Hulkbuster deserves 7, that was great. But other than that, you know, I like it if they keep it at 6. And considering you could have given Lasher the tail with the head, you could have combined those 2 pieces easily because those are not big pieces. So I feel like they could have easily made this a 6-piece Build-A-Figure instead of a 7. However, it is still very nice. I do enjoy the figure quite a bit, and I'm happy to complete it. So there you go. So that's my thoughts on the Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure from the newest Spider-Man wave being Lizard. Let me know what you guys think of the Build-A-Figure, and thanks so much for watching.